So, what's the mood like on the team?
Looking forward to game 2. Watched the film yesterday, went through some things today, and looking forward to tossing up again.
Hey, Mayor, you've been coaching so long, and the series are long. People get worked up over one loss, and so what do you try to tell the team after that, or do you have to tell them anything?
Not much. I mean, it's everybody's been in playoffs before, other than the rookies, so they understand how playoff series work, and the momentum in playoff series goes up and down. There's big shifts. You can't get too high or too low.
Terry, after watching the film, how did you feel about Yusuf's decision-making in the pick and roll?
He was trying to be unselfish a couple times where he probably could have finished at the basket. We had talked about how they collapsed, and he was very aware of that. So I think he just has to. I mean, it's tough. It happens quickly. They do have a good shell, and he's going to have to make passes sometimes. He's going to have to finish sometimes. So. I don't think he made any bad decisions. Like I said, he could have. He didn't travel. He didn't have any turnovers. We got shots out of it. It's just, whether it's to finish or pass.
It seemed like one time you wanted him to go strong.
Yeah.
The one more Holiday.
Yeah, he had an opportunity, I thought, to finish, but we ended up getting a wide open 3 in the corner. And I have a hard time complaining about getting a wide open 3 in the corner.
It seems like that it was really in his head, making the weak side pass. I mean, he talked about it a lot.
Well,
Is that
yeah.
something you guys really prepped him for?
Well, that is in our preparation. They really help on the roll man, either coming out of the strong side or the weak side, and it was a point of emphasis to read their pick and roll defense, and that's where he and Ed primarily have a responsibility. And it's, like I said, it happens quickly and against good defense. So it's, like I said, as long as they don't travel, throw the ball away. If we get a good shot, it's probably a good decision. But he's got it's not an either. It is either or. You can't make up your mind ahead of time.
Kind of one of the beauties of the series. I mean, he'll be a little bit more kind of in tune with that probably in game 2.
Well, and who knows if they make some adjustments, because he did have a lot of looks on the rolls. So if they change things up, I think if we make them pay for their defense on Damon CJ, then that's part of a series.
Was his 24 minutes or whatever it was about what you want out of to play him, or would you like to play him a little more next game?
It really goes by how the game is going. I thought the minutes that Zach and Ed were in together were very productive, and I rolled with that until I felt like it was time to bring him back in. But a lot of times it's a function of how things are going. And like I said, if you look at the minutes that Zach and Ed played, Ed was instrumental in the comeback in both halves with the defensive end. And playoffs time, it's, you do what you think is best to get a win.
Hey, Coach, what can you do to soften up that pressure they're sending to Dame and CJ? Is it just a matter of hitting shots, or is there more there that can be done?
It's nothing we haven't seen before. I mean, we talked about before. Clippers 2 years ago made that a point of emphasis. We've seen it throughout the season. So, as we said, we got good looks. Dame and CJ didn't shoot the ball well in the first half. We scored a lot of points in the second half. You got to score as a team. Now, I don't know if they necessarily disrupted Dame and CJ that much because they still got their shots. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes next game.
They're obviously different players, but do you envision using Yusuf as kind of a release valve like he used Mason against the Clippers?
Well, we already are. I mean, that's how he got those roles, and he's in those positions. And, Nurk's a different player than Mace, but he will be in that position probably more than anybody on our team.
Despite what Drew was able to do, I know Evan had a lot of success guarding him. How did you feel about the way that he guarded him in his matchup?
Evan always gives a great effort, and they know each other. They played together in Philly. A player can have a good game and you still have good defense. So I thought Drew did a nice job. He went by. He got to the lane more than we wanted. He got to his sweet spot more than we wanted. But I didn't think we necessarily fell asleep on him or gave up very many easy ones to him.
Zach said he felt like his first couple minutes were a little jittery, but then he calmed down after that. What did you make of his first playoff action?
Well, I kind of teased him. I said, I don't think I've run 3 plays in a row for a rookie since Damian was here. He was productive on the post. He's always been a consistent defender. And like I said, I put a lot of stock in how the team does when certain players are on the floor, and he and Ed certainly contributed to some runs in both halves.
So do you see his minutes similar, or is it going to be the same thing where you're going to just kind of gauge how the game goes?
Zach, depends on how the game's going. I go into it with kind of an idea of how the rotation's going to go, but if they make a run, if guy gets foul trouble, if somebody has it going, rolling with him a little bit longer, it's just I think there has to be some flexibility once the game starts.
Hey, Coach, you've said in past years in the playoffs, it's not always about making big adjustments. It's just sometimes about making plays and the subtle things. Is that hold true here?
I think there are always tweaks or adjustments. It's not wholesale changes. I'm sure they're doing the same thing. You watch the film and ideas come in like, what if we did this? What if we did that? But I don't think you want to flood your team with just a lot of new information. But most of the game is about making plays, making basketball plays, making basketball reads, and that's why usually the better teams usually win.
Jeremy, you have extra time in the playoffs between games. You know you got the one opponent, kind of like the regular season. How do you use that extra time?
Well, today, between 1 and 2, we have 2 days. I think this is the last time we have 2 days in between games. So from here on out, there's only 1 day in between games. That day will be, watch video, get some ideas. By game 3, 4, 5, whatever, however long you go, there's not a lot of new stuff out there. So a lot of the things, a lot of the novel ideas or whatever you're trying to do, you bring up early in the series. But rest is important, health is important, and the cerebral part of it, watching video and understanding what happened last game and what you want to do to going into the next game.
Speaking of health, do you have any update on Maurice?
Well, you saw he worked out. He'll be evaluated after his workout today, see how he feels, and then see how he feels tomorrow if there's any swelling, but nothing definite.
Did he take part in practice?
Well, I wouldn't call it practice. I mean, it wasn't active. What you saw was the most, activity of practice.
So what is his official status for Game 2?
I don't know if we've given official status, have we?
What's his unofficial status for Game 2?
He will be evaluated after his workout today and then see how he feels tomorrow.
So is that questionable?
So you're saying there's a chance?
How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about his status?
What would you say after what I just gave you?
I'd say it was questionable.
Okay. Jim, mark that down.
Oh, I could definitely do that job. Jim's job?
Wow. You're treading on thin ice there.
No, he knows.
How much do you enjoy the game-to-game and the strategizing and everything?
It's a challenge. I think usually it's incumbent on the team that just lost to see what it can do better. It's a little more challenging, to be honest, after a win, because you want to keep doing what you did to win the game. So it's much more so now than, as I said, after the third, fourth, fifth game, where you've seen about everything that the team has. Players know each other. It's that's when it becomes even more of a challenge.
Mm-hmm. You've kind of touched on this, but there was a Blazers series in 2010, I think, and the Blazers went to Phoenix and won, and Andre Miller had a huge game. And Alvin made an unexpected move in Game 2. He moved Steve Nash off of Andre Miller, put him on Batum, and put Grant Hill on Andre, and ended up changing the series. They won it. That's a pretty drastic move. How, as a coach, I mean, in making an adjustment or a big one, you want to trust what got you here, but how do you balance that?
It's a tough call. It depends on where you are in the series. I think when we went to the finals in Dallas and changed the starting lineup and brought in J.J. Barea, which was pretty significant, and that kind of turned the tide for us. I think you have to be prepared to do something like that. Matchups certainly matter. Changing the starting lineup can have an impact, but I think it also depends on how you feel after that game. If you think something that significant is worthwhile, or maybe you can get to some of those things, but certainly matchups do matter and are taken into account.
And so where are you on that scale after game one?
I thought Nurk guarding Anthony Davis, he did a good job. He scored 7 baskets on him. 5 of them were jump shots, so kind of kept him away from the basket.
It was 8 baskets.
On Nurk? Depends on your definition. Well, if you looked at the film, I'll go with yours instead of mine.
I charted during the game.
Yeah, I went back over the film twice. But anyway, whatever your numbers is, I thought they were jump shots. And, he can contest them a little bit better, but he kept them away from the basket. We gave up a spin lob. Nurk wasn't on that. He gave up 2 rolls to the basket. Nurk wasn't in that. So, you got to pick your poison. Anthony Davis is a great player. Averaging over 30 since the All-Star break, so he is going to score. But Mirotic getting 4 transition threes, that wasn't a matchup. That was a team thing. And Rondo getting 17 assists, that's a team thing. So, but I'm not, we discussed matchups. Whether we pull the trigger on a change, that's to be determined.